Well, I finally got this motor bracket free in here. I don't know what was causing that thing to be so tight, but I was able to finally, put a piece of wood on here and I was knocking it this way and I marked it so I could tell if I was making any progress. Beat on the end of this pin on the long end here, and unfortunately I did mushroom it over just a teeny bit, but it's now loose. So I may have to, I'll have to take a file of that, get that little bit of mushroom off of there. I technically don't even need to take this thing out, but I think it'll be better off to take the pin out, polish it up a little bit, and make sure it's just right to put back in there. But that was a chore. I let that thing sit for probably damn near a week, and that was after I was spraying some PV Blaster in there like every couple hours to let it soak in there, and I finally got it. Okay, we've got this pin out. We've got the key out of it. With a little help from my flat disc here, I was able to take that little bit of mushroom I had off and knock that pin through there. It was still not easy. It was stuck in there. And I think you can see here, the pin was in pretty rough shape, so that's been stuck in there for a while. We're going to clean all that up. We'll clean up these bushings that are in here, and when we get it ready to all put back together and get it cleaned up, I think we'll be in a good spot. But I think we're now on our way to cleaning the parts up and starting to think about some reassembly here. I think what we're going to do now, we've got things pretty well taken apart. A few other things I have to do. I think I'm going to take these adjusting screws out and clean those up so they go back in really easy. Got this pin ready to go. That's in there, works great now. While I'm waiting for everything else to soak in the parts washer out in my shed, I'm working on the table here, the main table. I haven't started with the wings yet. And there were a couple of pretty rough areas. I think when you noticed when I started this, it was very rusty. So I started with some sandpaper. Now I'm on to 400 grit, using a little bit of kerosene as I go along and just kind of keep it lubricated. There were a couple of really bad spots, and I put a very non-aggressive, very fine Brillo pad on my die grinder here, but it's pretty flat. I put a straight edge on it. We'll check it again when I'm done, but we're making some good progress here, so we'll just keep it up. This is just going to take some time to get this back down to where I can put a good wax finish on it, and we'll have a good smooth table. Now I've got to get down to grooves a little bit. I haven't done that real well yet, so we'll do some more of that as well. Moved on to one of the wings here. There's a couple of bad rust spots right there. I'm going to nick it a little bit with my Scotch-Brite wheel on my die grinder here. Got a little spot right here that we'll try to get it real lightly. The next thing I did is I just took the cast iron base off the cabinet there. Since everything was out of it, I just laid it over. There's 8 tube bolts at each corner. Took those out. We're going to clean this up and get this ready to paint along with the other stuff. But there's a lot of sawdust that has been stuck in these corners over the years. So we're going to clean this up a little bit. I've got to get the bearings out of this casting. So what I've done here, I've got a 1 7/16" socket on this side. The bearings come out this way. And I've got, I think it's 1 inch going in there, set in, there's a little shoulder in here. So they come out this way. So I got a piece of 1/2 inch threaded rod, a couple 1/2 inch nuts here and washers over the top of these sockets, and we're going to see if we can go ahead and get those beauties out of there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get that bigger socket in there now to push them right out of there. There we go. Now we'll go over to the other side. You can feel when those things break loose and then you start pushing right out of there. And there we go. Got the base for the Unisaw right here. What I'm going to do is I found a piece of sheet metal I had laying left over out in the shed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece to lay right here. There's a detent that goes all the way around here, around the corners. And I'll cut this piece of sheet metal to fit in there. And that way I'll have just the sawdust will stop right here, won't go down on the floor. And I'll just, if I want to put a dust collector hole in it in the side of the cabin, I can do that. Or I can just pop the front out and vacuum off this thing versus having it all over the floor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and clean this up. Got it all cut out. Going to clean up a few little spots so it'll sit in there a little cleaner. And then we're good to go. Okay, let's see how that fits. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take my flap disc and take off a few of those burrs. There we go. So we're good to go with that. Using my adjustable table here, got that down to the lowest level, which is basically 30 inches table height. Good height to do these parts. And that works out all right. We've got some masking, we've got some paper on here to keep it from getting all messed up with paint and whatnot. But another video on that if you want to check the adjustable shop table with adjustable leg. This works great. Okay, we've got these pieces set up. I'm just going to wipe them down with acetone, clean them pretty good, or clean them real good actually before that. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to give some coats of primer and some spots. This piece here that's never been painted at all. And then on this base there's some rust areas where it connects, where it's been sitting on the floor and some others. And inside the cabinet here there's a few rust spots down the bottom and just nothing serious in terms of rust, just bare spots. Got these masked off. I didn't take these plates off. I just masked them and then I creased it around them and then peeled it off with a razor blade. So we've got all the edges covered. So I think we're going to be good there versus taking them off. All right, a little update here. Got everything painted up. I just used dark machine gray Rust-Oleum, and it was a pretty good match, actually. We got the base painted up. This is the piece that I'm going to put in to keep the dust from going onto the floor. I got the electrical box there painted up. And the wheels, I masked those off to cover the chrome finish on the or the polished finish on the outside here, and then just took a razor blade and cut right around the side. Didn't do the bottom, so I may have a little cleanup there to do. The next project is I didn't have the little door that goes on the bottom, and this came, I was able to find one of these on eBay. This came in the mail yesterday, and it was pretty well beat up. As far as the paint's concerned, somebody had tried to repaint it and they did a shitty job with it. So I just took it all off, put some paint stripper on it, took it all down to bare metal. Had to take these pieces apart, and they're held together. There's some little tack welds around here, and I took my Dremel tool and ground off those little tack welds. So when we get ready to put it back together, we'll put a couple little tack welds to hold that together. So we're getting pretty close to reassembly, and so stay tuned.